Exterminate, exterminate.
And it looks like we're live.
We could be. Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds, hanging out with these nerds. What's going on?
Nerdarchy.
Dun, dun, dun. So apparently people have been hanging out in the chat and waiting.
Some for like 2 hours.
Thank you very much.
3 days.
And Dave did not kill the sound.
And the sound is not killed.
So apparently people have been hanging out in the chat and waiting.
So that's how
some for like
days.
2 hours.
Perfect.
So how's everybody doing? I don't know about you guys, but we're in a rainy Saturday over here. So,
But it's an exciting Saturday.
oh, lots of stuff. I'm excited. We're getting a new campaign starting up tonight. Nothing like rolling some dice and playing a new character.
I won't be there, but I'll be traveling up to meet family members. So I got quite a busy weekend coming.
Indeed. So we got a list of stuff to talk about. We'll let people, kind of filter in before we get to it. So what's everybody doing this weekend? Anyone have any cool games going on? We're actually going to be playing Star Wars RPG. We've got a new DM to the table this evening.
I have not played with Mike or not, so I don't know if he sucks or not.
I have actually gamed with him. I actually think he's pretty good. He's very, very strong on the technical end of things. He provides a decent story. And, Star Wars is one of those games that not every problem is hammer and nail. So you have to be able to sometimes think outside the box. And if you're not able to approach every situation and say, well, how do I use this stat in combat? You might be at a loss. Well,
What about now in Blaster?
It could be. There's other options. So
Yeah, lightsabers.
So I was playing a mechanic in the game that he was running, and my guy is very computer and technologically savvy. Not so much with a blaster. Well, we're supposed to be destroying some TIE fighters, and I'm like, well, I don't think a standard light blaster is going to do enough damage to a TIE fighter, let alone some kind of special ops TIE fighter.
It'll just make a cute noise. Pew, pew.
So I'm like, do I just shoot it? He's like, well, you could go access the computer panel and see if you could drop some kind of crate on it. I'm like, yes, I will do that instead. And proceeded to roll well enough that I drop a crate and boom, one turn destroyed a whole spaceship. I'm like, yeah, excellent. This is much better than what I would have done if I had gone pew pew.
So what are you playing tonight?
I will be playing a whipped warrior aggressor. So if you're
whip it aggressively,
yes. So if you're actually into
That just sounds dirty.
So if you're into the Star Wars scene, they are the large, furry, shaggy race with the prolonged snout and the huge tusks. You only see one or two throughout the 7 or 8 movies that have come out so far. But they're pretty darn cool. They're very savage and tribal. And I'm looking forward to actually playing a dude who's just into the brawn and the brawl of it, because I haven't done that in a long time.
I don't actually know what my character is yet because Ted made it.
I was just about to ask. Ivan wants to know if someone's going to be playing robots since it's sci-fi. But you don't know your character is yet. So.
I don't think we have any.
We have 4 players, and I made 3 of the characters.
Any androids?
Of those, no. We have
droids.
I do not know what Alyssa is going to be playing, but David is an Ewok, and as of right now, he's an Ataru striker. Although there's a distinct possibility that might need to be shifted to a Sheen expert. And as of right now, Dave is playing a Zexto war leader.
Yeah, I basically said there's this picture. I want to play this guy, basically.
He wants to be a 4-armed gunslinger.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't want to use, maybe I might use 6 or 7 blasters. I don't know. You can force manipulate those or something, right?
Well, you said you didn't want any of the actual force traits. So I can give you any.
Well, we'll see what I can do. I'll work it out.
So Zaref Gaming in the chat is all that sci-fi talk makes him think of Starfinder, and it makes me think of Starfinder too. That's why I said Android. We were talking about androids and envoys earlier today, and the videos will be coming out
this week,
next week.
This week, yeah.
And Doug says it's RPG, sci-fi, space fantasy year for RPG stuff, and he says Esper Genesis is coming out. And I didn't know about Esper Genesis. It sounds like some kind of Final Fantasy movie name or something. Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's another like uses the 5e mechanics, like Harbinger, which is the Absolute Tabletop. They've been working on that for a while now. Also, there's Hyperlanes, which Doug mentioned earlier in the chat as well. That's another one that he had backed on Kickstarter, and so he's kind of excited about that. Sci-fi, man, like. You can only play fantasy for so many decades, and you're like, maybe I should branch out and play something else too.
Superheroes, sci-fi, something.
Anything, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
It's good to every once in a while stick your toe in the water of a different genre, a different feel. For a long time, we had talked, and D&D was it. There was nothing else on the horizon, and it actually took the such a divergence of 4th edition to really give us that kick to say, let's try something else.
Well, before I started gaming with you guys, when we would like do 2 sessions of like every system, because there were so many different ones that like Avalon and TSR came out with back in the 80s. There was Mayfair had DC, there was a TSR Marvel Superheroes, there was Star Frontiers, which was TSR, there was Top Secret, that was TSR. Gangbusters, I forget who put that out. There was Twilight 2000. There was a Conan game, and there's just there was Boot Hill. They're the ones I can think of off the top of my head.
Well, you remember my friend Vince, right, from back in the day?
Vaguely.
Well, I mean, I played Star Wars. I played Shadowrun. I played with like 2 or 3 other games with him. It's just there was never the draw to play any of those with this group. It was always just we played D&D, and that's what it was.
For many, many, many years. I guess it's just easier. It's like it's familiar. It's what we knew. And also it's like trying to actually get a consistent campaign going and keep it going. What was the other thing? Although we weren't really particularly great at that, even if we did play a lot of D&D.
We played, D&D solidly for about 15 years.
Yeah, I would say so. And then we kind of branched out. Mutants and Masterminds, Heroes Unlimited, and now like we keep delving into some other stuff. But at the end of the day, we always end up coming back to D&D.
Well, I mean,
fantasy.
It is the staple. It is the thing that for a lot of people draws everyone in. If you ask people what role playing game is out there, I think a lot of people say D&D is the top of that crest.
What is Phantasy Star, Doug? I'm intrigued. Probably just because it's spelled weird, but at PH.
Oh.
It's working for me. It's working.
And Doug also had a question about the set expansion. He says on the side are masks.
Oh, are the masks?
Yeah, they're visible. It's not really a set expansion. It's just the way the shots framed today.
Yeah. So the mask up top. Actually, there's 2 of them that are there. One faces away. They're from Bionicle, the old Lego series. I'm a big Lego nut and what have you. The second one, filled with that is a Scorp mask. Many years ago, Nate and I and my wife and a handful of other people, we wound up running our own LARP, and a Scorp is essentially a humanoid scorpion, and that was the mask that would be worn by anyone that was going to fight the town or fight a group of people as a Scorp. And we've actually either already have or are working on a Scorp for a later Patreon reward.
They'd also have this super cool custom-made buckler armor sword thing too that I made.
Yes, they're fantastic. I enjoy them. Every game needs to have its own thing that's niche, and for a lot of fantasy-esque things, trolls are the big bad to fight for a standard adventure because they regenerate. They're harder to bring down. So in our world, the Scorp was our answer to that because they literally could be healed by poison, and they had poisonous blood, so they could poison you or they could heal themselves.
Yum. Chirp.
All right, so I'll start in on the list. So for those of you out there who might have been on the fence or what have you, Bones Kickstarter 4, they're down to the last several hours. I think it's like 3 or 4 at this point in time. And the scads of minis that you actually get with just the core set, you're up to over 150 minis for $100. So if you're thinking about it, now's the time to get in before it's over. Since every mini usually retails for $3 or more, getting them for less than 75 cents a piece, I think, is a pretty darn good deal.
Especially with some of those minis.
One of the minis is 275 millimeters tall. So that's just one of them. There's demons, and there's as I said, the big one is a dragon.
What is 275 millimeters in American now?
It's about a foot.
So there's that stuff going on. Frog God Games, they also have a Kickstarter that's about to end, which they've like totally crushed their goal. Which we had Zach on yesterday, and that was a pretty decent conversation. He's always good to talk to. The Saver Dice game this past week did not happen because of stuff. Twitch was down for whatever reason. I don't know exactly what happened there, unfortunately. So there's that. There's also we're working on something else with Saver Dice too. So there might be something in the works, but I don't have enough of the details together yet to announce it. So there's a couple different angles we're working on. We'll see how those come together. So I'm pretty excited about it. If it all comes together the way we're working on it, that would be awesome. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We also have a Saver Dice contest going on right now. I believe it is in the you know what? It might not be in the description. Is the link there? Or just the details?
I did not put any details or link because I did not have them. You put details to say we need to talk about them.
Yes, and I meant to grab the link to put in there, so I will put that in there when we finish this up, so that you guys can get it. But we're extending the contest out a week. We lost a week of Twitch, so we're pushing everything a week out. But the prizes are, everybody will win a D20 pouch from ThinkGeek, and the top prize is a $100 gift card. And then there will be 3 $25 gift cards. So they're pretty good. It's probably over on the Saver Dice YouTube channel. You can find the details there. Over on the Twitch channel, you can find them there as well. I will add them back. So if you're seeing this not live but record it, it'll be in the description. If you're just catching it now live, I will add that. So you guys can just click the link and put your information in, and you'll be able to win stuff.
Cool.
So there's that going on. We're about to wrap up our Phase Rip TSR Marvel game run by Professor Bill, season 1. We're talking about doing a season 2. We're also talking about doing a little bit of better production and maybe moving around when that happens. So we're hammering out the details. But someone actually contacted us and they're like, "Hey, this looks like a lot of fun, and I kind of produce these kinds of shows. Would you like this show and have it produced a little bit better?" So that's something we're looking into. And we're also talking about maybe doing a cyberpunk game on the channel as well. So we got some things that we're kind of in the near future that we're working on.
Nice. So we're back to Star Wars. Mentioned that. Mentioned the Bones 4. Mentioned the giveaway. So we do have another giveaway. This is the first Saturday of the month. So we always announce what it is that we're giving away. Last time, I believe Nate brought it up. We have the Pathfinder Adventures Guide, as well as tiles from Black Scroll Games. This is the Forest of Fallen Giants and the Keeper of the Realms. So those are going to be shipping out. Do we announce the winner now, or do we wait till later? How do you want to do it?
Either way works for me. We let me see. Let's see. Do we have enough people to make it worth announcing? That is the question.
I see 42 people watching.
42. I guess we can announce it now.
All right. So I put all the information in. I pulled the magic lever, and the name that came out of the Fancy Thinking box is Scott Beckard. So congratulations to staff writer Scott. We're actually going to be shipping those out to you this week. I actually have a pile of stuff to to begin mailing out. So
It's like that name sounds really familiar.
yeah.
He's done some articles. He also he does the Chartopia, and because all of our staff is volunteer, we don't exclude them from the drawings. You know, I believe he's a patron, and he's also on. He's also on one of the newsletter as well. But
I go into any people who submit the form and the patrons, I pull the lever, and that's the name that popped out. So the fact that he writes for us for free and supports us on Patreon doesn't exclude him.
Yeah. So also we want to welcome Nord Games to the family as well. They're becoming a Nerdarchy sponsor, and what we've arranged with them, there will be a 10% discount on anything on their site. So you can look forward to their sponsored videos coming up in the very near future, like this week. And I believe it's Nerdarchy 10 is the promo code. And also we'll be putting out special links that if you click those, you'll automatically get the discount as well. So you can look forward to that. And we very much look forward to working with Nord Games in the near future.
They make great products. I really like the Ultimate Beastiary.
Revenge of the Horde.
Indeed.
Which is great stuff. So, I know that Ted mentioned that we were gaming, and some people did chime in, and we have more people in there now. For those that missed it, we're playing Star Wars tonight, Fantasy Flight games with those custom dice. Some people love them, some people hate them. Is anybody else gaming tonight, and what are you playing? That is the question. I think we're probably going to end up. What are we got an all Jedi party? Is that what it looks like so far?
I believe so. I don't imagine that. With the concept of us being gray Jedi, that Alyssa's not going to make a Jedi.
Oh, is that the concept? We're gray Jedi?
Yeah.
I totally missed that part.
She's not a 13th warrior, even though there's only 4 of you.
Yeah. Doing my own thing. Well, we were supposed to have another player, and that player was going to be a droid bounty hunter, I think. And, was talking about having, like, secret compartments in them. Oh, no. They were going to be a smuggler. And I was like, I could totally do the bender thing. Yeah. Is the way to do it.
That'd be awesome.
So Doug says, doing Star Trek adventures, planning tomorrow before regular gaming with my D&D group. Awesome. So you're going to double up fantasy and sci-fi.
Nice.
That should be fun. You'll have to let us know how that system is.
Writer's Block is playing his 5e homebrew game.
Sweet. So HACF, Cody Sams, have you tried D20 online? Yeah, I greatly recommend gaming online if you don't have a home group or you just want to game with a new group of people. Like a lot of my gaming is now happening online. I'm really surprised too. It's been quite the shift, but I greatly enjoy it. It gives me the ability to reach out and game with people I would not normally be able to. And in some ways, I feel like the games are just more focused on the game instead of all the other stuff that kind of goes on around the table.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things that, like, I've actually adopted this habit whenever I'm gaming to, like, all right, there's always side chatter and there's always things that are going on. But it's like if you stick to verbal in character and the chat for the out of character stuff, it makes it very easy to kind of keep the game flowing, even if it's like, okay, I'm just going to, chuckle off to the side because of a comment that somebody made versus the whole, I'm going to interrupt what's going on to make a joke or to make a comment. I really do enjoy the online experience as well as the in-person.
So there's a bunch of games going on. Mazik's playing some 5th edition. Virgilio is playing some homebrew system tomorrow online. I think I saw Austin is playing some 5e tomorrow. So lots of D&Ds going on, that's for sure. So I think this Sunday will be D&D free for me. No gaming.
There'll be no gaming, but there'll be definitely some Nerdarchy work going on.
Well, there's always that.
Yeah, for the today and tomorrow, I'll be planning my session. Going to be doing a session 0, hopefully within the next month, for my pay to play, the Hold of the Moordanes. So I saw your comment, Andrew Orwin. I'm looking forward to it as well. So
if somebody is interested in getting in on the pay to play, how do they contact you?
you can contact me with email at natethenerdark@gmail.com and just put pay to play or gaming with Nate in the title, well, in the subject, not the title. There's no titles there.
Some of it.
And I'll be able to get back to you. And right now I'm looking to get back from information from the people I've already emailed about whether or not they're interested in this particular game. I decided rather than giving a whole bunch of choices, I'm going to just start one of the games and fill that up and then move on to and start another game. And that's kind of how the progression will make. You give 12 people choices, they're going to make different decisions based on what they want to do. So I just decided to narrow it down to who wants to play this particular game that I'm going to get set up.
Right.
So it's classic D&D, and the backdrop is that it's part of Griffin-Gaff area, the Tribes of Discordia campaign setting, but it is not necessarily at Griffin-Gaff. It's about 300, 400 miles to the east of Griffin-Gaff. So kind of set apart in a new area that I had made earlier.
Hello, silver-sided squirrel.
It's an awesome name.
I know. I couldn't help but call that one out. Kyle Elliott's question: favorite Lords of Dread of Ravenloft regions aside from Bavaria and the Vamp. Players like the horror, but what a new Lord region to be haunted by. So you guys remember any of the various ones?
Well, I mean, I'm not a huge Ravenloft fan. Like I know Soth, and I know his trek from Dragonlance into Ravenloft and some of the story there. So like I know him and Strahd, and that's about it. So if I had to choose between those two, I'd choose Soth.
I like the Necropolis, and I also like
Azeroth. Azeroth was
his name was Azeroth?
It was like Azeroth or Azrael, something like that.
I thought it was Astalin. I'm mixing a whole bunch of A names in my head right now. But basically the Lich in charge of his section of the domain. And I also liked the Necropolis, which was an adventure set kind of where you basically died and became an undead, and based on the class you were, second edition. So based on the class and level you were, you turned into a particular undead and you continued the storyline.
So I thought Azeroth was the name of the Warcraft world.
It might be, but there's one that's very similar. That was the Lich that you're talking about. I read a ton of the books. It's just been a very long time since I've read them.
Yeah, I haven't seen his name in a while.
There's also like one domain that is like basically the Frankenstein monster. So there's that. There's I think there was like a dozen or so of them.
Yeah, I have very little exposure to Ravenloft. I've never read any of the novels. Most of my experience just comes like from secondhand and thirdhand stories.
Doug says Aslan.
Yeah.
So
he's got a great memory.
Yeah, the AZ is there. Good.
Me, not so much.
So we spent some time in Ravenloft and Mellish's game, right?
Yeah. I feel like we had to deal with the Lich as well as Strahd.
I think there was like a stack of Ravenloft books behind.
There is.
The box sets were the best, and I remember reading those. I just can't recall any of the details from the actual box sets.
Yeah, let's see here. Van Richten's Guide to Werebeasts, Children of the Night Werebeasts, Van Richten's Guide to Ghosts, Van Richten's Guide to Werebeasts, Van Richten's Guide to Fiends.
And I've got the Lich book.
The Lich is actually just behind me. So yeah, I love the Van Richten's Guides. I thought they were great products.
And their artifacts, the like evil, like Vile Darkness artifacts and things like that, those were fantastic because you could just read one and go, okay, I've got pretty much the start of my campaign, how I'm going to deal with this artifact.
Yeah, the domains were awesome. Like I remember there was I think there was a couple box sets that had come out, and I remember owning those. That's my greatest regret. I got rid of so much AD&D stuff that is in the wind now. I have no idea. It might even be here somewhere. A lot of my stuff did go to Ted.
I like many gamers, I'm a collector, and I will hoard gaming books. And there was a time that Dave was looking to purge. It's like, I don't need any of this stuff anymore. You want it?
Yeah. Like, yeah, please put it in this funnel. It goes in a book.
Yeah. Doug's got a question. Are you guys going to play the Dungeon Crate adventure featuring yourselves?
Oh, what do you mean ourselves?
Dwarves inspired by our beards and personalities. Yeah, I'm interested. I was looking for that question, actually. I'm like, I can't find it.
And, apparently on the digital crate,
That I will not say the words to.
They're statted out. That's a little bit of an inside joke because when we were shot the crate versus crate, Nate was reading off the things for Dungeon Crate, and then he read the passcode.
He's like, "Oh, and this month's passcode is blah 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 blah."
I was just read the next line, wait for them to talk, read the next line, wait for them to talk. And I read the next line, and everybody freaked out.
It was quite glad that for me that wasn't done live.
Yeah, I'm glad that wasn't done live. And that's the first thing I checked on the video was that you deleted it out.
Yeah. I was like, I must remember to get rid of this thing.
So now I know, don't read the passcodes.
So there's always amusing stuff that happens behind the scenes.
So Adam Foisey has a question.
Go for it.
What method do you turn to when a player drops in the middle of a dungeon and you have to bring on new players? My group dropped to 3 players mid-dungeon and I'm needing to add players. So, all right. So here's the thing, right? There's different circumstances that bring this on. One is it's just a temporary, X player is not available. They're not going to be here. Or there's the more permanent, you need to switch out characters for whatever reason. And one of the Scarlet Sisterhood games, Sam couldn't make it. So it was extra tricky because the last session I literally ended with Agnetha and Deneen in the woods together by themselves, and a hulking figure kind of like bursts out of the brush. So that made it a little trickier. So in that instance, I had the monster kind of like knock Agnetha out, and it was too powerful for Deneen to fight. So it dragged Agnetha back to its lair. Deneen went and got Kenna, and then they had to go rescue Agnetha, and she was just unconscious the whole session. And the monster basically married her.
I think you got to switch that. Agnetha and Kenna.
Different session.
Oh, you're not talking about directly last session.
No, not the last session.
Oh, okay.
This is a different time. And then I had another one. Then I had another session where Deneen wasn't there and Agnetha and Kenna was, and it was in the middle of the watches. So I had one of them get kidnapped, and then they had to go rescue that character.
I love the whole taking away Agnetha to marry her. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. We kept it PG though. Nothing crazy happened because that's, I don't know. We don't play that way.
Yeah, that's
so there's always like things like that you're having to deal with. Like we had one player come and one player go. So I had like some weird transformation magic hit the one character and they morphed into the other one. And then, at the end of the session, it just reversed itself.
So if you're talking about, a complete characters entering into the party, they're going to be there, and you're exploring a dungeon. The characters, the last surviving member of an adventuring party that is traversing the same dungeon, and he's looking for help. Voila! Two adventuring parties merge. They keep going. One person's found as a captive, either with a group of people or in a cell. However you want to do it, there's plenty of ways to have them there alone, hail, and be able to join the party without it being like, what the heck. So those are two things that I would be able to do right off the bat.
Sometimes if the party has a patron or benefactor, like maybe they have means of sending new people to the characters, into the party. You could have something happen, like depending on what kind of GM you are, where something horrible just happens to the characters that you need to remove from the game. So there's that.
The most interesting thing that we've had, but this was more because of a character that was wasn't going to be there all the time. I actually wound up, because I was the most steady player, I wound up finding this cursed disc that I couldn't put it down. And if Steve showed up to the game that night, his dwarf would get expelled out of this disc. And on random intervals, the disc would suck him back in. So if he showed up, his character would pop out of the disc. If he didn't show up, it would suck him back in the disc. And it didn't matter what I did to the disc, it always stayed on my person.
the Canadian game I was playing, and Timmy had a gem in the group that would randomly do the same thing, suck people in and out of the gem, depending on who was there.
So, there's a lot to be said for trying to stick with what's actually going on. And if I don't have a good excuse of what happened to person A or person B just showing up, I just gloss over the details. All right, you're the people at the table. This is what's going on. I don't need to sew seamless stories together of how this person's here and this person's not. Even if they were just there 2 minutes ago, I'm not going to put in the extra work because I don't feel that it's that important to the game. Everybody understands we're playing a work of fiction. We're here to have fun, and I'm not going to tax myself over greatly just to come up with a perfect reason for why he's joining the game or he's leaving the game. It's just not that important to me.
In the end, we're playing a fantasy game, so I would, if you can't think of anything, talk to people and say, hey, whatever you imagine happened has occurred. Whatever, it doesn't matter that it's different, because when the person comes back, you're going to find out that they've been there all along trying to talk to you and no one paid attention to them.
Yeah, I mean, you could literally do, you guys all wake up and these people are here and the other ones aren't. And they could be like, well, what happened? You're like,
I don't know. You're asleep.
Yeah.
I had this thing called magic.
You don't need to explain everything. Like, once you remove that from your play style, the game becomes a lot more fun and a lot easier, right? You don't need the solution right now. And here's the great part about that. As the GM, you can make the thing happen and not figure out how it happened right now, but later on, maybe you want to revisit that and come back to it, and you can come up with what happened as a later story arc.
Even better. Perhaps your players at the table in character converse and come up with awesome stories and awesome reasonings. They did the work for you. You pick the one that you like the best, and there it is.
And in the end, one of them is right, and that's a super cool kind of feeling to be like, oh yeah, I figured it out.
I guessed it. That was awesome.
The greatest tool any GM has is his ears, and using them and listen to what the players say, and just putting that stuff back in the game later. If they're having fun, you're probably going to have that much more fun. At least that has been my experience.
So do we want to do that roll call thing?
Yeah, we can do a roll call.
So if you guys want to sound off where you're listening in from, watching in from, all that jazz, you know the deal.
Zareth Gaming also has a question. I don't know if it's a good question, but he definitely has a question.
Well, we can ask the question and give it our best answer.
All right, so I'm planning on playing one of the preset campaign settings. So to keep true to the setting, I create a demi-plane for homebrew stuff for my character. Is that a good idea?
So is the DM creating a demi-plane, or is the player character creating a demi-plane? DMs can create demi-planes all they want. I do it all the time. I don't think a player character should be making a demi-plane. Unless you're doing like your own thing for, hey, I'm doing a Magnificent Mansion or something.
Or is it kind of like, oh, I'm playing a race that's not in this setting, but I want to play it with this cultural history, so I'm like I'm a far traveler from some other plane of existence.
Oh, I'm cool
like
with
that kind of thing.
And also, it's like it just comes down to, well, what does your DM think of that idea?
Well, he's the DM.
He's the DM. Mm-hmm. Then you can do whatever the hell you want. It doesn't matter.
Create all the demi-planes you like.
All the demi-planes.
I enjoy it because it's like, okay, well, I want to do something. Well, I don't know if it's going to mash with Chimes of Discordia, so I just throw them in there. These guys are planar travelers like nothing's business.
So we got Doug in Cleveland, Chris in Houston, Tesmic in Australia, Prue is in Denmark. Kia? I think that's Denmark, but there's an extra IA on the end. Mazik, 1988, is in Arizona. Craig is in Minneapolis. Writer's Block's in Dublin, Ireland. Austin is in Kentucky. Andrew is in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And that's is where we will get to the jump. Dun, dun, dun.
Ben is in New Brunswick. Daniel is in New Zealand.
We've got
Lincoln in Sweden.
Thunder Bay, Canada, with Stefan in the house.
Silver-sided Squirrel in British Columbia, Canada.
We got Cobb in House Springs, Missouri.
Kyle Ellis in Lake Hylia, Hyrule.
We got Mountain View with Josh, and that's in Arkansas.
We've got Wilder Smith in New York.
Favorun in the house with Daniel. I'm a little skeptical of that one, though, because everyone knows Favorun has terrible Wi-Fi. Justin with Tennessee. Tamariel, I think that isn't that like another place in Favorun with Prime. Utah, Regilio, Alberta, Canada in the house with Holtz. Captain Varg is in Baja, Mexico. Awesome.
And they're fans of the Scarlet Sisterhood. Him and his wife.
Awesome.
Nice.
Adam is in Kansas City. We've got Kyle in Sacramento. That's a different Kyle, but that might be a question. We got Louisiana in the house with Logan. We got the Netherlands with AJCF. We've got South Carolina with MK Scorpio. So awesome, everyone tuning in from all over the place.
So what if they just, ran, as opposed to, using Wi-Fi, what if they just ran the cable in the thing, though?
Well, actually, it says he's from the magic land of phone. And he's accessing the web from a Wi-Fi signal he's getting from the dimensional portal that he fell through behind a Burger King in Chicago. So currently in Chicago, originally from.
Well, currently in Fairrun, originally from Chicago.
Yeah. Sure.
Isn't that a podcast? I think there's a podcast that does that. So I forget the name of it. It's totally crazy. Hey, Nicole, what's going on? Or Kelsey Nicole. And Writer's Block asked the question 10 times. Answer me. You know what? I can find where it says I can find other places where you say you asked the question 10 times. But I have no idea what the actual question was. You might have to ask the question 11 times.
Is he the one that's trying to start a fight with us? I think we've already said that Dave, Ted and I vote that Dave is the epic
DM.
level veteran DM.
Was that the question?
I believe so.
We asked that. He
asked that every week.
That question was asked last week. We answered it. Dave has the most experience. He was kind of like, even though I had run other games prior to gaming with Dave, I don't think any of them really were that great. So
the best and also the person who runs the majority of the time. Yeah, your guess is correct. It is Dave.
Yes. I run a lot of games, and it's been ramped up recently, but that's fine.
But to reiterate, Dave, Dave's thing is even though we learn from him, he says he still learns from us. So it's always a learning process.
Yeah, I mean, oh my God, Aaron, was it my fault? My parents got divorced. Yes, it was. It was all your fault.
I'm gonna say no, it wasn't.
What do you want to say? Maybe go with maybe.
I'm gonna say maybe. Just to make
people are very complex, and they all have their own issues that they got to work through.
Yeah. You guys are ridiculous today. So we established what we're going to give away for the 40K. We just didn't figure out how we're going to give it away yet.
All right. So do we talk about what it is?
I think so.
All right. So we've done a lot of, we're going to send things and we're going to mail things out. And sometimes people really dig it. And sometimes, people are like, it's kind of cool. Glad to have something from Nerdarchy. For 40K, we're going to do something different. This time, we're going to pick a winner. That person is going to be able to pick one of us Nerdarchy trio, and we will run a game for you and your friends. You can pick whether it's broadcast or not. You can pick the selection of people in the game, and we'll run the game.
Online.
Online, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you pay for lodgings and airline tickets and stuff like that, I'll come run it in person. But
I hate flying, so if I can drive there and you pay for my gas, perhaps that will work out.
So we have to figure out the details of how we're doing it. I will continue to apologize that we said this is a 40K giveaway and we've hit 42 and we still haven't figured out how we're doing it. But hopefully tomorrow night at our powwow meeting, we can actually hammer out these details and make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll just do another Gleam. We'll make it a Gleam giveaway, and we'll just we'll figure out from there, and we'll post that somewhere, and you guys can get all the entries you want that way. And this way, like, it doesn't require you to be a patron. We're not asking you to sign up for any email stuff. Just, if you like the show and you're fans, you can just click this link and follow all the different ways that you have to get entries, and then you and your friends, and we'll run a game for you.
Absolutely. So, speaking of games, on the 24th of this month, Nate will be running a game for the fans. It is his turn to do the fan game. The players we have selected, we have Len Cole, Liam Cusham, Jim Valengoat, John Hetzel, Sam Parsons. I apologize, for any names that I have messed up. The alternates are Harry Thibault, Joshua, did not provide a last name, Sandstorm 657, and Lazarus Moonmark. So I have floated the information over to Nate. He will contact you. But the game is September 24th at 7:30 till 11-ish. Because if you know Nate, he always goes late.
Guys are going to play till 3 a.m, just so you know. Nate's time.
Well, I won't say it's 3. I will say that I tend to over-deliver on games.
So make sure your schedule is open, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So we had some different suggestions, like picking different people. But I think we want to make it kind of special where it's like one person and their friends. That's why we're going to do it that way. And also, too, like a lot of times when we get a bunch of people, sometimes it's really hard to wrangle them and get people, get them all to respond. So
right.
It would end up being like our fan game where we probably would then have to go somewhere else to get more people to fill the game.
Right.
But this way also we'll be able to work with your schedule and schedule something up. So I think that'll work out nicely. And what we'll probably end up doing is picking like 3 alternates. So we'll go to the first one, give them a week to respond, and then and also the game will be either recorded or not recorded as per your request.
Yes.
So we will run it however you guys want to do that. Someone did say it'll be like probably 6 days for you to drive for the game with them.
Yeah. So
sounds like a challenge to me.
Yeah, a challenge I'm not really into right now.
I meant a challenge like you could probably do it in under 6 days, like 4.
Oh, yeah, that way, yeah. Well, I did drive to Idaho and back and visit a whole bunch of people along the way, both ways, in 15 days, and that's like 6,500 miles or something.
And how many of them were Nerdarchy fans?
Well, none, because Nerdarchy didn't exist for like 5 years.
All right. Well,
come on, man! Didn't you see the future?
All right. Well, I'll let that one slip.
Oh,
good. The beard has a magnificent Dave Kyles. Thank you. And also, I don't know about these guys, but like I said, I will actually come and run that game in person if you pay my expenses.
Depending upon how far the travel is and that kind of stuff, I don't have that big of a problem for me. It's just arranging childcare and work and what have you.
I have a dog crate that I no longer need that I could loan to you.
I don't think that's I don't think that's something that the state of New Jersey really likes.
Would approve. We won't.
Or Ted.
Oh, we could not tell them. Ted, we're gonna have to mind wipe you.
Do you understand how my kids talk?
So PAX South, possible visit.
Yeah. Is that Zarif Gaming?
That's Zarif Gaming.
I knew it.
Is that the one in Texas?
That is the one in Texas in January. This feels so close to plan that one. Like we'd have to start planning now.
Now we've kind of depleted our reserves going to Origins, California, and then Gen Con. So I think that's unless some big changes happen between now and then, I just don't see that happening.
Bacon Press, stop mind wiping, Ted. Ted's been mind flashing.
Is it starting to show? Is it starting to show?
Is mind flashing me?
It's only once or twice, Ted.
Yeah, how much could it hurt?
But Bacon Press, that's
dozen times.
That's good stuff.
Daniel, 22 hours to New Zealand. Don't forget your dice. But that would make my wife very unhappy if a fan paid for me to go run a game in New Zealand. Like, sorry, babe, it's work. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, business trip, business trip. Doug has a good thing to mention. It's September now, so Tome of Annihilation and Xanathar's Guide to Everything is coming out soon.
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, speaking of that, Monday we do have a video going up that we kind of dissect some of the things that have been hinting at Tome of Annihilation. So that was an interesting video to do, and I believe that was Ronan Greg or Greg Ronan on Twitter that actually kind of pointed that out to us. So kudos.
Dissecting goes along with the theme of that thing as well.
It does.
Yeah, it does. So you can look for that Monday.
That was a lot. That was a lot of fun to get into that night, I think.
Doug, speaking of LA trip, Nerdarchy on GM tips should be real soon. Woo-hoo. It should be real soon because I think I saw Ryan's go up, and he was there the same day as of us that we filmed. I do not know if I've seen Ivan's go up yet or not.
And Ivan recorded just before us.
Yeah, so if they're going in order, this coming week should be Ivan, and then it should be us.
Excellent.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't suck.
I don't know. I wasn't there, so I'll have to see how you guys did.
Ted thinks everything we do is awesome, and I'm like super critical, like this was garbage.
Someone's got to stay positive.
Positive, this is garbage.
I'm positive this was total crap.
Yeah. It was weird, like shooting in front of like a whole crew, and we had time restraints on certain things, but not other things. And I think me and Ted like kind of flipped those things in our head, like everything was a time constraint. And it's like, are we talking too much?
Yeah. So like I was trying to give short answers, and like they kind of just stop and shoot. And Satine's like, I really want to stretch this out. We have the ability to edit, so I want you guys to really feel. I'm like, oh, so I can really just talk here. I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah, you mean I can just run my mouth for the next 20 minutes?
Dude,
Right.
Yeah, it was like you should have just told us we could do what we always do, and then you guys could cut it up and leave a bunch of stuff on the floor.
Yeah,
that would have been the way to do it. I think.
Absolutely.
For our pea brains.
Doug had a question.
Doug always has a question. But yeah, so that should be coming out very soon. And I'm excited about that. We also have PAX Unplugged coming up. So if anybody's going to that, and actually this is unique, right? This is unique in comparison to Origins and Gen Con and even the LA trip, because PAX Unplugged will be all of Nerdarchy. We'll all be there. I have to get with Brian Feaster from Open Legend to figure out exactly what's expected of us, because we're kind of like booth bearding for him.
Booth bearding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Listen. If you're going to do an honest to God convention and you're going to do it right, you need some sexy ass beards to put out there and draw the folks in. I'm just saying, man. These aren't any beards. These beards have been tokenized.
They have
immortalized on plastic tokens.
Oh my God. Where is PAX Unplugged? Philadelphia, my friend. Philadelphia. And that is, I believe it's the weekend of November 17th. So I'm excited about that because it is the first PAX Unplugged. So, you only get to go to the first thing once. So we'll be there for that. That's cool. We'll be hanging out at the Open Legend booth. And hopefully by then, the books will be printed and out, which it could be. I mean, we're getting close because they just did the backer kit.
They just dropped the PDFs.
In the backer kit. So that is getting very close.
Speaking of beards, Cody Sams wants to know if he has to factor in care for your beard into the expenses.
No, I will actually travel with my own beard care products, so it's okay.
And that's not a jest. He honestly has them, does them every day.
Yeah, I've been meaning to write a testimonial to Easy Roller Dice because they have some beard care products over there, and they're really good. So I used a major beard brand that's even been featured like on a major TV and stuff. And I like the other ones better. I like I think it's Artist Man or something like that. It's on their site. You can see it. They have a beard care section. And also like my wife likes those scents way better. She actually did not like the scents from the other brand, but she likes these ones. So there you go. It's a win-win.
So I think that's
You've actually completed the list.
That covers all of my list. So
And we still have time to spare. I was trying. Who would win in a Nerdarchy brawl? I will crush these guys. Writer's block. You were so vile. I just want to say that. Writer's block. He's the one who keeps.
He wants to know who would win.
He wants us to start fighting.
Yeah. Who's the best DM? Who would win in a fight?
Hey, we haven't killed anybody in the past 3.5 years of starting this business. So.
Yeah, there has actually been no violence at our gaming table in years.
In years, and none of us were the starters of it. So
we've had one headlock. That's about it.
Yeah,
that is true. We've had threats of physical violence.
One poorly executed.
Silver-sided squirrel has the best answer. Writer block. The fight would be a toss-up between Dave's beard and Nate's jacket.
The jacket is just waiting for my word.
He's sans jacket.
It's ready to attack. It's actually a cloaker.
Yes, it's been hiding for a long time.
Yeah. So what do you guys think of the Starfinder coverage we're doing? You guys into that? Not into that? I know I mentioned it during the live chat, and I think it was one of the regulars. It might have been Lavoie, it might have been someone else who was like, I'm not really into it. Probably won't check that out. But the good thing is we were back up to doing 10 videos a week. So even if we do a couple Starfinder videos, there will be like another eight videos plus 5 live chats that have nothing to do with Starfinder.
Yeah, we didn't want to just spam the Starfinder for like a week and a half straight.
That also gives us time to properly, read it and, do a solid video on it. I will say, if you guys are patrons, I'm looking for feedback on, specific stuff. So go read the patron message that was sent out recently and give me feedback. There's reasons for it. Figure it out later.
Cody saying Ted's sword skills would win. Give Dave a shave with it. Yeah, if you're talking weapons, that could definitely change things up.
My sword skills are incredibly rusty. I think it's been like 3 years now since I've practiced regularly.
I should totally take Ted because I sword fight with a shotgun.
And Dave is still like, everywhere we go, everyone he talks to, that's like, oh, you do swords? Will you fight, Ted? Dave wants me to get in the sword fight on camera.
You're like his version of an accountant. Oh, you know an accountant? Can he do my taxes?
Oh, you're a sword fight? Can you sword fight my guy?
Josh would like some tips on promoting your DM's Guild products. And
oh my God, do you have a couple hours?
It's called social media.
Yes. Like I would check out, if you don't have a social media presence right now, I would check out ways of getting one and stick with like a platform and kind of build that up. It's to start.
So you've got Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, Facebook. Facebook has specific 5e groups, and I do mean plural.
That may allow you to post some things every once in a while. So make sure you check out so you don't get kicked out of a whole bunch of places.
Yes.
Make sure you check out who allows you to actually post things and the frequency of letting you post.
Yes. Always look at the rules of said groups before you do anything.
The one of the keys to self-promotion is like being everywhere and being cool in those places, right? So be the person that people want to hang out with, and literally like, if you're doing a thing, you should be promoting yourself and getting yourself out there, networking before the thing even goes out there, depending on how serious you are about it. But see, the thing about DM's Guild, the products aren't that expensive for the most part. You're going to only earn a certain percentage of it. So it is really tough. Even like if you look at Nerdarchy and what we do, X amount of time goes into the actual videos and stuff that we do, but then so much more time goes into getting this stuff out there and getting known so that people know that we exist. And that actually takes probably far more time and energy than us actually shooting the videos. You can't Field of Dreams it, because no matter how well you build it, they will not come unless someone tells them it's there.
Unless the search engine lets them know, or they find, or they're in the group when it releases a link for it.
But you can't rely on just that unless your product is like pure gold and you're practically giving it away.
Well, if it's really fantastic, that's the one thing I noticed with the DM's Guild. They have like the most popular stuff is a whole bunch of stuff that costs nothing. Like across the top is one of the things I noticed when I went there, and I was like, how are you supposed to get to the trending? That's like the trending popular
Give it
section
away for free.
Without, it's a whole bunch of stuff that's for free that is just like kind of promotion in a way. It's not. So it's and it's a long string and line of stuff, and so that's one of the tough things for that. You're not going to really be on that segment. without having something free that trends. So
well, I mean, that's where you could play with, pay what you want. Even like Lewis Porter Jr., who's done a ton of third-party stuff with Pathfinder and Paizo, talks about having a product that you can give away for free, so people can get familiar with what you're doing. So that would be a stuff. And then the other thing is maybe developing a platform for people to find you and learn who you are.
So I mean, you could create a product or a string of products that is free or pay what you want, that gets someone access to or used to the type of material that you have. And if they keep coming back, it's like, oh, well, this guy made this. I like his stuff. Oh, well, I've gotten these other 4 things for free. This one's, $2. Yeah, I'm. It's worth money because I already know the quality of his stuff is good.
Yeah, I will. I will let you know. Like, I spent probably 6 years and tens of thousands of dollars learning how to market stuff online. So there's a lot to it. And you can also the information's out there. If you Google hard enough, you will find it. YouTube, Google, there's plenty of stuff out there. But essentially, it's going to be a lot of work. So it is actually 3:00 on the dot right now. We started a few minutes late, so I suppose we could go a little bit longer if anyone's got some last-minute questions they want to throw out there. Someone, who was it? It wasn't Ritter's Block. It was Adam Foisey, I think. That bench was friggin' sweet. So I try to find cool things to share over on the Facebook page, and it was this like carved dragon bench, and like the wings were like all over the place, and I'm
nice.
It was huge. I'm like, this would look great in my living room. I don't know how comfortable it is.
Somebody custom made that one. I was showing it to my kid, and he's like, "Do you want one?" I'm like, "Yeah, but where am I going to get it? Where am I going to put it?"
Kyle Ellis, question: If you were a DD, what would your domain be? Shade. I'm throwing all the shade. Can I have the soft domain? What domain would you be?
Mind bullets.
Mind bullets. Your
Yes.
domain is mind bullets.
And the things that come from mind bullets.
Can I be the domain of collections?
Yeah, you absolutely
collector,
would.
Yeah.
But if I really had to be, I would go with Tyrion on this one and Tits of Wine all the way. Can't go wrong there. Adam Foisey, beard domain. Come on, I think we can fold the beard into a lot of other things.
Le Voyeur, if I read this right, happy birthday in September.
Oh yeah, happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday, man.
He's the one that snuck into my hangout the other day because I tweeted out the wrong link. I think he was just as surprised when he showed up, though.
That's awesome.
So this is asking me a few more things.
Yeah, after a couple of years, you figure
there's going to be some mess ups.
There's going to be a few bloopers. Writer's Block, you're a very weird cat sometimes. I mean that doesn't go away.
Cody Sams, don't know if you answered this. Do you ever factor weather into your games, magically enhanced or otherwise? Yeah, I think it adds a nice backdrop, and it can also be a way of introducing things like ailments or why people in a region are sick if it's like been really overcast and wet.
I didn't get that question.
Do you factor in weather into your games?
Oh, ever? Weather. Okay.
Yeah, I go outside, see what it's like, and determine is this going to be no, absolutely. Ted had chaos storms in his games recently, right?
Yeah. The weather
probably like a year or two ago.
weather is one of those things that you can either put it in there as okay, well, use a random chart or a die roll or whatever it is that you want to do to determine what the weather's like and see how the party's going to interact with it. Or you could just like, okay, the weather's going to be what you want it to be. You're the DM, you're in control of all of that stuff. But there's definitely things that you can and should do with weather because it certainly has an impact on the game.
I use it in the game for a lot of times just for backdrop stuff. It kind of sets the mood for what the characters are experiencing and what kind of emotional state they may or may not be in.
It's one more layer of immersion to help the players get into what's going on.
And if it's something like, let's say you're on a cliff face or you're on a mountain and it's a lightning storm, there's no trees around you, like I think I need to get in a cave. So it might also influence your player character's decisions.
Same cliff face, but as opposed to thunderstorms, it's high winds.
Yeah.
You know, like do you pitten off? Do you secure yourself so that you don't fall or get pushed off? You know, each of those things is a definite different problem to deal with, and it has nothing to do with the adventure. It has everything to do with the weather.
Right. Or, you know, if you decide to do an encounter, you know, now all of a sudden maybe, you know, you've just described it raining for the past 3 days. So maybe the ground is difficult terrain for everybody because of the mud and the water, you know, if you don't want to slip and slide or the mud sucking into your boots. Yeah. So you can definitely do things like that. You know, if it's raining, you might have reduced visibility, you know, to like 30 feet or something like that. So there's definitely all kinds of ways that's going to change the game experience at the table.
And speaking of changes, just the normal change in seasons can add a lot of realism. So, like, well, everyone's kind of familiar with changing seasons and changing weather. So just mentioning it, even if it doesn't have any impact on the actual game mechanics, like what happens with the players, such as like putting on more clothes if it's cold. You know, that just adds like a level of realism to the game.
Okay.
Yeah, Zarf Gaming kind of is talking along those veins. I imagine that's where that came from. I would like to have seasons in my games. I don't know what to do. What do you guys think? So that's just it. Like, and it is tough. Like, I always start my games and I always give a season, but sometimes it gets tricky to actually, while you're playing the game, to remember to have the seasons change.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a detail that can get overlooked. We've done full-blown calendars in our games before. So, you know, like tracking a calendar in your game, you know, is another way. And then that would automatically go through the seasons for you if you were to do that as well.
Yeah,
So,
we've been kind of fast and loose with like, oh, a couple weeks have passed. We have no idea like what time of the year it is or something. Like I did a series of like plant growth rights around Griffingaff as one of my characters. And I don't remember when that was, comparatively speaking, to right now. I know it was probably over a year.
One of the things that I try and do is I try to keep, you know, a swinging calendar so that if for now things are happening fast and loose and things are traversing over days, at some point in time, I'm going to say, okay, there's been X number of months, and it will allow the time to catch up to whatever the current season is for me in the real world, so that I can be able to say, all right, well, now fall is happening or fall is about to start. I can introduce fall into there. So I'll use the real world time to keep my game on the same kind of, you know, tracking flow.
Logan Heimel has an important one. Do you guys have football seasons in your games? Of course, fantasy football. No, we don't do anything with football seasons.
Well, you had Aetherball.
We did. You know, we never found out what happened with Aetherball.
I know that, and you're probably never going to find out because of what happened at the end of the campaign.
Oh man, is it going to be canceled?
Yeah, there's actually only one player that's actually in position to maybe find out what happens with Aetherball.
Well, I went into the Astral, so
yeah, they don't have updates for games in the Astral.
I gotta check my phone. I gotta know whether my fantasy Etherball team how well it has been doing. How did the Beasts do? Did they win?
Cobb, in my world, Blood Bowl is a thing. So although in my game I did introduce Rat Ball, but it's only played by the Kobolds. Maybe it'd be cool if your party brought back a version of Rat Ball to Griffingaff and it started getting played.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, so I want to do more stuff with that kind of things in the future, or even if we make up something that's kind of unique to Griffingaff. But historically speaking, all cultures have different sports and competitions, so it would only make sense.
Well, yeah, because the more civilized you get, the more you have to kind of like direct your kind of like competitive spirit and things.
Or wage war. So you can either
or you can start a fight with your neighbor.
They're kind of like their only two options.
Yeah.
So I think that's a wrap for today. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Keep an eye out for the announcement of the actual 40K giveaway. We know what it's going to be now. We're just going to post it out there. Maybe we'll announce it during one of the live chats. So you're going to want to keep an eye out for the live chats this week. Even if you can't be there live, check out the recaps, so the replays, and, we'll have all the details in one of those. So until next time,
Stay nerdy.
Happy gaming. Have a good weekend.